All right, cello bass, good morning. So today we're going to be starting at rehearsal 11 and going all the way to rehearsal 15. One thing that applies to both sections is here at rehearsal 12. So at 11 we're still in the lento section, right? So it's quarter note equals 64. And then one measure before rehearsal 12 there's an accelerando, and then at 12 it says mosso. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the new tempo at rehearsal 12 at quarter note equals 80. And then there's a rit right before rehearsal 13, and it goes back into lento, which is again our quarter note equals 64. Just like Winter Palace, we're not going to worry about the speeding up and slowing down, especially because in this piece the concerto violin soloist will be leading those tempo changes. So for the purpose of recording, we're just going to stay quarter note equals 64 all the way through 12, 80 through 13, and then back to 64. Okay, go ahead and check the description box for your timestamp and we will get started. All right, cellos. So first of all, hopefully you haven't already done this and I can save you the time, or maybe you're just smarter than me and you figured this out without sitting here and doing it note by note. At rehearsal 11, you are in tenor clef. Don't sit here and try to figure out every single note because, as I learned, it is the same as the bottom staff. It's the same notes as the bottom staff. The rhythm here at 11, just make sure you're counting so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and hold 4, etc. And as you guys know, anytime you have a syncopated rhythm or you're changing bows that not on the beat, it helps to put a teeny bit of space in between and a teeny bit of an accent on the beginning of the note because it makes it seem more intentional and not like an accident. And here the composer has helped you because he has notated accents on all of these notes, so just make sure that you do that. 1 before 12 on this accelerando measure, make sure, extra sure, I'm sure you would anyway, but that you're starting that bow at the tip because you've got a big crescendo and everybody in the orchestra has it. So you're going to have to be really slow bow and save so that you can get that crescendo at the end of that up bow. I'm going to go ahead and play through just 11 to 12 before we move on. So this section is still lento quarter note equals 64 and pianissimo until the very end. 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's look at the next little section, 12 to 13. So we go into 4 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Once again, outside part you're in tenor clef, but it's the same notes, only higher as the bottom part. Just to point out some of these flats, you're starting out C to D flat, and then you have D flat, C, E flat. And then your rhythm through here is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and hold 3, 4 off. Make sure you're getting those accents. Luckily they're on down bows and those line up with other sections accents. Okay, pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go ahead and play now from 12 to 13, and this section again will be quarter note equals 80. 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Be careful in measure 77, the pattern changes and it's D flat, C, and then back to D flat, not E flat. So just be really careful that you're playing a D flat there on that measure. Okay, so now let's talk about 13 to 15, this last section. So obviously you start out with some tied whole notes, they're pianissimo. We're not going to stagger these bows because it's so soft, just, you know, nice and slow and soft next to the fingerboard for 8 beats each, starting on an up bow at 13, down for 2, up for 2. Then at 2 after rehearsal 14, you start this section that says Suoni Reale Sul C. It might be cut off at the top, but it is C, rapido. So This section here, if you watch the video I sent you, basically is just a gliss, okay? And you're starting at your halfway harmonic on your C string, and you're going to gliss from that note to the end of the fingerboard on the C string and back to that note. Now, I realize that the bowing that Steffi has indicated here may indicate that she was thinking of doing separate bows for each note, but for now we're just going to do the gliss, and we're just going to do a slur through all of that and change bows as you want. So there's a rest on beat 1. We're talking about 86 here, obviously. Rest on beat 1, and you're going to start again at your halfway harmonic, and you're going to gliss through the harmonic series. So don't press down as you're glissing. And just change bows back and forth. Make sure you're counting 3 beats in that first measure and then 4 in the second measure. It's not going to be in any sort of rhythm or tempo, it's just more of an effect. Do make sure you end measure 87 on a down bow so that you can catch 88 on an up bow. I'm going to go ahead and play 13 to 15, and this is back at our lento quarter note equals 64 tempo. 3, 4. Rest. And that's it. Something different, something you don't see every day in traditional classical music. So have fun practicing this, and I will see you back here tomorrow for the next section. All right, basses. So your part is not that bad today. Starting at rehearsal 11, you're still pizzicato from before. So your rhythm here would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, etc. And that takes you all the way to measure 71. I think that you're going to be fine getting from the pits to the arco in time. We'll just have to experiment with it. It really depends on how fast the soloist is speeding up here. But in any case, in that measure, measure 71, you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and then you're in rehearsal 12. Then right here at rehearsal 12, there's a big key change. We go into 4 flats, but you guys have accidentals that actually cancel all of that out. So your divisi here, inside outside, top part just is up the octave. It's the same notes, but so you've got F for 2 measures, E natural for 2 measures, E flat, D natural for 2 measures, and that brings you to 13. This rhythm looks more complicated than it is. It's, you know, you're just playing on the beats. It's really, they could have written it as quarter notes with dots on them. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all it is. And that brings you back to rehearsal 13, where you're in unison again and pizzicato at that original lento tempo. You've got accents on the first beat of every measure here, and you're at pianissimo. I should have mentioned that from 12 to 13, you are forte. You guys in the cellos are forte here. Okay. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and set my metronome at quarter note equals 64 starting at 11, and then I'll reset it to 80 at 12 and back to 64 at 13. 2, 3, 4. that's it. Sorry, I misspoke. It's not accents every measure from 13 to 15, it's every other. Okay, that's it for this section. Happy practicing, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for the next part.